much last Friday of 2019, you know. And I'm sit back just looking and wondering and just looking at how things move in this world today, you know. And a lot of people, you know, we sometimes get stuck in our own generation. It's almost like we get trapped in our generation, and we assume that this is the right way for everything to be. There's really no right or wrong way on generational moves. The only thing that I dislike, and I think is distasteful, is when you have generations that don't respect the generation in front of them, you know, not understanding that the generation in front of them is why you're here. You know, you wouldn't have a lot of things that you have if it wasn't for the generation before you. So, you know, a lot of it is, you know, entitlement. You know, a lot of it is just that, you know, we all had our things, you know, when we were coming up as Generation X, you know, the baby boomers thought we were like lazy, you know. They thought we were like, you know, that just that type of generation, when all in all, you know, our generation was more like, okay, we need to be able to work and, you know, work at home, work, you know, all of that. And we were just a little bit more flexible. But our goals were pretty much almost the same as, you know, baby boomers. But baby boomers, you know, it was all about, oh, I want a family, a house, white picket fence, and all that. And Generation X was more independent in establishing what they wanted, you know. So it became a little bit different. But, you know, when you go off into the new generation, like the millennials, we'll start with them. The millennials tend to not lean toward those same goals. You know, you don't have a lot of millennials that looking to purchase a house, or if they do decide to purchase a house, they're purchasing a house at a very early age in life. Unlike a lot of us, you know, we kind of like build up on that. You know, we were patient. You know, we believed in working our way up. I'll put it that way. You know, into things, and it's not just work life. It's just in general. You know, if I wanted a certain car, I worked up to I was able to afford that kind of car, or I was able to afford that house. The millennials generation is not that generation. That generation is, I'm gonna go get her, I'm gonna go get this right now. If you can't give it to me right now, I'm moving on. You know, that's their mentality of things. But one of the things, you know, that's one thing that I can say I do appreciate about them, is because they're that. But in the same thing, they don't actually understand that everything that they do is not necessarily right. You know, they don't actually want to hear what the baby boomers and the Generation X have to contribute. You know, in other words, they don't want to hear their ideas. They don't feel that their ideas are worth anything until something happens. And why I say it like that is because, you know, you can't fix everything with your new coldness. You know, everything is not that fixable. You know, it's not easy to do things that way. You know, and their communication skills face to face are not that great. You know, unfortunately, they're not great. They don't manage people well because they don't communicate well with people face to face. In my opinion, you know, this is just my opinion. I've been in the work industry for a long time. It's just my opinion, just talking to them. You know, a lot of times that they don't understand. You know, they like to take things time in your first assumption is going to be that they're complacent, and that is far from the truth. See, the thing that they don't truly understand that, when this economy went through a financial crisis, there's a lot of things that people had to take on that wasn't like that in the past. And that's why I say a lot of times the generations like millennials don't really understand that in business, when the economy goes through a financial crisis, we all have to crunch. We all have to do more. And when their approach to doing more, they're gone. They're out. Peace. I need to be this. I need to be that. And that's not where we were at that point in time. And it's not just in certain companies, it's everywhere. So that's when I say entitled, that's what I mean. They feel as if, it doesn't matter where the company is, I want to do this and I want to do that. And you can't do that. That's something you simply cannot do it. So that's the reason why I think, don't get me wrong, I think the millennials have a mindset to where they can make a lot of things grow, but they also have to understand that you have to not forget about the people that got us where we are today. Because if it wasn't for the people in the past, you wouldn't be here today. So it's funny to me. So moving on, as we're approaching the Z's, because we have to keep in mind, we have Z's, Generation Z, as I call them, Z, zombie land. That's what, you got the Z's coming in. Z's are completely different. And this is what is so amazing about generations. The Z's are completely different from the millennials. Their mindset is totally different, because those are the generations that was born into the whole era of internet, Wi-Fi, all of that. And some of the things that the millennials care about, the Z's don't care about. A lot of the Z's don't care about. They don't care about titles. They care about what they want and when they want it, and they want it now. I mean, just my experience, because I have children that are millennials and I have children that are Z's, and it's just, you can tell the difference from them because the mentality is just totally different. I mean, no matter, the thing about it, a lot of people in my generation and the generation before me, the first thing they'll say, I didn't raise my kids to be like that. You have no control over how this world evolves, and that's what affects that generation. So it's funny to me how people can always say, I taught my kids. No, but you better understand their mentality is still going to be the same, because they grew up in a different generation than you did. So it doesn't matter what you taught them, it's how they live their life after. They're as they grow up, it's different. It's not the same. It's not the same as it was. So the Z's, and when the Z's and millennials bump head, it's almost entertaining, which I hate to say it like that, but it is. It's almost entertaining, because it's like, when your mom used to say, hey, your child is going to give you 3 times more than what you gave me. That's what it seems like, because it's like, the millennials have a tendency to want to tell the Z's how things go, and the Z's are more like, I don't care. No, I don't really care what you're talking about. That's the mentality I'm getting. I think it's hilarious. I'm sorry, it is. It really is, because they're not being listened to by the newer generation. And that is literally the same thing they did to the generations before them. So, yeah. It's interesting. What I do like is the fact that I'm, able to sit back and just really look and see all the different generations in the workplace and how they can collaborate. Now, don't get me wrong. In some cases, we all come together and things do work out and everything works out. But when you have the generation clashing against each other, you're going to always have situations where you have the generation that's been around, for years, they don't, they feel that they're they're not listened to. You have the generation that feel like they know everything, and you have a generation that just really don't care what you're talking about. It's about me, and me. But y'all tell me what you think. I'm just saying, experiencing the different generations in the workplace with me, what I've seen. And I think, I'm actually glad that I'm able to experience it, because it can be very entertaining to just sit back and just like, this is hilarious, So yeah, I figured I'd make a video and y'all tell me what you think, because it's truly amazing to me. It really is. I'm not gonna lie. It is. So that would be my video for today. The generation fight. Yeah. Let's just do that.
All in all, I think the better generation is only is what we make it out to be. I mean, if we all work together and bring our strong points together, we could really make a difference. We have to stop clashing and start showing value in all generations, and maybe we can survive through all generations being in the workplace. So, y'all tell me what you think.